Well, a lawsuit containing disturbing allegations that a youth treatment center in Dothan mishandled an incident involving an 8-year-old patient was settled just before it would have gone to trial. The child was admitted into Laurel Oaks by his father back in 2022. The facility provides mental health treatment for young children and teens. His father said another child with a history of sexual violence assaulted his son only days after his admission. Details of this settlement were not made public, and attorneys did not respond to requests for comment.